Alright, I'm on. You can see, if you've been watching regularly, that we've got a little bit of a different format today. Kind of going back to what I used to do before I had my partner with me. You can see here from the save, I haven't played this since 2018. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna go ahead and start over, since it's been like 5 years and I have very little memory as to what I was doing back then. Now my partner today didn't want to Twitch. She's in the mood for doing other things, which happens, right? With a 7-year-old, they don't. That's why we don't send them to work, because they wouldn't be that great at keeping to schedule. School's the most we can do, right? She kind of had a long school day today, so you know, I'm not the kind of person that's like, well, you've got to do this. It's like, no, I'm cool. In fact, it gives me a chance to play something I haven't been able to play in a long time, right? So, but I understand if you watching out there kind of like, oh man, I liked it with, you know, Dacian there playing.
This war is a disease.
I get it. I like it.
Passed through blood spilled by warriors. I feel the winds from the gathering
storm. But maybe we'll see what kind of audience we'll get from playing a game like this, as opposed to some of the games we've been playing. Right? So I haven't played this since 2018, so I'm starting over from the beginning. We've never seen it.
Sprach der Oberkommandierende des Heeres am 15. März 1946 über die jüngsten Erfolge der deutschen Armee. Voller Zuversicht, dass der Endzug in nur wenigen Jahren zu erreichen sei, sprach den großen Fortschritt der deutschen Waffentechnologie unter der Führung von General Wilhelm Strasse einen großen Anteil.
I hope you don't mind the weight of the world on your shoulders, Agent Blazkowicz.
I've got pretty solid shoulders, Agent 1.
Well, we're losing the bloody war.
Nobody told me.
HQ's put a tight lid on it. General Deathshead is manufacturing unstoppable killing machines in a secret compound. One of his lieutenants, Helga von Schabs, is keeping the folder mentioned in your mission briefing at her base of operations, Castle Wolfenstein. This folder contains the location of Deathshead's compound. Could be our last chance, this, before the Nazis wipe out all that's good in the world.
America would never fold.
All right, here's the checkpoint. Remember your cover. Commander Franz, Nazi bastard from the SS in Frankfurt.
Now, obviously, like the graphics, I'm playing on PS5, but you know, this was updated for the PS4.
Here.
Oh boy. I need to invert this. Give me a second. So, yeah, while I do this, let's see, invert look enabled.
Zum Kontrollpunkt da vorne und zeigen Sie dort Ihre Papiere.
I'm like the only person I know that does that. So, but the other person that did it was my roommate.
What a good team. We can do this.
In 2000 and
okay, look. You're German?
2.
Frankly, it's atrocious. So no talking.
We would play.
Keep your gun holstered for as long as you can.
On his Xbox. And
the papers Kessler prepared for you are in
the
glove box.
For some reason, he insisted that I played inverted too. So I was like, okay. Like he's like, no, you gotta play inverted. Like if there was a rule to play with him.
Okay.
And that's the way he
Let's
played.
go.
And so I just learned how to play games, like especially first-person shooters and stuff like that. Role-playing games, everything. I'm always inverted.
Frankfurt. Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen. Fuck it.
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work out. Probably gonna end up shooting our way out. Okay, much better.
Himmels Willen, stramm stehen, Fritz. Der Jäger kommt gleich. Jawohl, er macht Hundefutter aus dir, wenn er dich so sieht. Was soll ich denn dann deiner Mutter erzählen? Entschuldige, Onkel. Nenn mich nicht so. Entschuldigung.
Okay. So this morning talked about Lazarus and the miracle of resurrection.
Zeigen Sie Ihre Papiere.
from John chapter 11. If you're not familiar with what I do here, Mental Health of Scriptures, try to play some video games, talk about scriptures, and also talk about mental health. Now, in the morning session, I do more of the scriptures take on the whole thing. Meaning we look at the Bible passages and study and try to understand what the purpose of the scripture is. In the evenings, usually I play with my daughter and try to talk about the subject from the morning in a more practical way, like a 7-year-old can understand since she's 7, and then try to incorporate some mental health aspects into the subject.
Das war ein komischer Kauz. Die spinnen, die armen Hotdog.
Die werden sich wundern, wenn wir an der Macht sind.
Oh wow. Okay. This guy's huge.
Kreta! Bei Fuß!
And you'd think you'd practice German more if you're going to go into this this world. Undercover or whatever, trying to sneak in. Very risky. Now, this is an old classic game, right? I heard about a long time ago. Got them all on the PlayStation. Just never got around to playing them.
I hear he feeds his dogs with prisoners from the castle's dungeon.
That's not good. It's pretty dark. So, light and darkness. Real quick, let me read from John chapter 1 verse 4. It says, "In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overpowered it." This kind of the theme of this morning's study was looking at how Jesus healed, or should I say, raised Lazarus from the dead, and I was talking about how John uses the themes of light with the man who's born blind, the last 2 sessions that we did. And in this story, he's talking about how Jesus is his light.
By Death's Head himself, as a key member of the SS Paranormal Division.
It's always hard to play when
Now, I had the misfortune of encountering her on a mission to Tanzania. Did I ever tell you about that, Blazkowicz? I was sick with blackwater fever at the time. Possibly the worst day of my life. Not even a heavy diet of whiskey could improve my condition.
People live like this, huh? I always assume that these things are modeled after real life.
It's her occult research center. Now we need to take down Death's Head or the war will be lost. And Helga is vital in doing this.
Look at his eyes.
There's a top secret document folder in Helga's office. It should give us the location of Death's Head's compound. Once we have that, well then,
it's so intense.
We can launch an assault on
makes
his
you
base of
appreciate
operations.
changes now. You know, sometimes things look kind of funny, but they don't look
Turn
this
this
bad.
failure of a war around and be back just in time
Is
for
this
tea.
considered vintage gaming now? Because I know this game is from like, I didn't get it to 2018, I think, but I think it's from like 2014 or 2015. I was looking earlier, trying to make sure I played the right one. I don't want to skip anything.
Off you go. I'll disable the alarm. You head for Helga's research center. We'll stay in touch by radio. Leaving the channel.
Alright, how do we get out of here? Where am I supposed to go? Here we go. Okay, so talking about life and light and darkness, and what I said this morning was in this evening session I wanted to talk about the concept of life and light and darkness in counseling. Okay, so I think I mentioned yesterday's morning session how I had a professor who talked about the importance of counselors who have a belief in Jesus and who are, you know, are counseling people with that mindset. And, you know, I know in counseling we're supposed to be like non-biased or whatever, but there's still principles that guide us in how we're going to do our counseling, right? And our theoretical conceptions are going to define, you know, the way we see treatment.
Roger that.
Some
Spotted. Get to the kill.
some counselors come in with a mindset that's set on or rooted in the idea of biology over anything else. So I should just be killing people? Like, this seems tricky. Okay, that's not powerful enough to hit him. To get his mask off. Why are we in here with the gun open? Okay, I'm assuming I gotta kill this guy. Perfect kind of game to play while I'm talking about this stuff, huh? What the heart wants, what the heart wants. Okay, here we go. Oh, mama. Alright, I haven't played this in forever, so I was hoping for a tutorial, like at least show me how to switch my weapon back. There we go. And then how to reload. Oh, that's just how to shoot, which I already knew. Go square. Reload. +5. Oh, okay, cool. Little helmet for protection. Is this big guy still here? And did he die or is he still alive? Okay, he's dead. So like I was saying, if someone's got a biological bias or lean, they're going to think of biology more than anything else when it comes to someone's treatment plans, right? And at Trinity, we teach a biopsychosocial spiritual perspective, where we want to focus on biology, then psychology, then sociology, biopsychosocial. But then we add the spirit. That's like every school, every university is teaching psychology is going to do that. But we also, I'm having a hard time. Okay, got to shake his hand. Seemed like a very pleasant man, but his hands were clammy and cold. There was a faint of. Helga assigned me to lead a research team while she preoccupied with our visitor. Discoveries of a note and ancient construction discussion. Panels seem to be used to his castle. A castle commission ought to be grandiose. Some kind of hidden opening. Sketches and saw several spaces it could find no entrance to. Okay, so it's just hinting at the idea that there's secret entrances and places to go. Okay, so how did I change weapons? Triangle. Can I pick up more weapons or am I limited? Now do I have the... Oh, I just have these two. Where did the assault rifles go? Or is that just... okay, I'm going... Okay, that's just reload. That's crouch. There's jump. That's melee. That does nothing. Aha! Dual wield. Okay, putting that on and off. Sorry, this is boring. Okay, oh, on a map. Okay, what about this? Weapon selection. Guess I could press and hold R1. There, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so I still have those assault rifles. Cool. That's what I wanted to know. So as I was saying, so biopsychosocial, we, biology first, right? I think I mentioned this yesterday or today. There's an anecdote in one of our textbooks about black mold being the cause of depression. Oh, there's a guy right here. And I'm trouncing around like, yeah. He like just knows. Yikes.
Up on the catwalk, BJ. Don't shoot. It's just me.
So that's actually really funny to me that
I'll take a gander up here. Look for a safe. That's where the folder should be.
Okay, Helga. Where do you keep your secrets?
looking for a safe. Okay. So biopsychosocial, there was a black mold was the cause of depression in this person. So the treatment wasn't medication, it wasn't counseling, it wasn't go exercise, go make friends. That's the psycho and social stuff in biology, right? Well, biology would be medication. The solution was to
I saw a radio down there. Use it to contact Kessler. Tell him we can't find the folder. Make it snappy, Blazkowicz. I'll stay on the lookout.
I am not a psychologist with a PhD. I have my master's degree in counseling psychology, and I am a therapist by trade, and I also am a professor of psychology. I have been for the last 11 years now. Well, yeah, 2012 was when I first 2012 was when I first started working as a professor. So that's my experience. Technically, a psychologist is someone who has a PhD. I'm not even paying attention to what this guy's talking about. He's answering a question. I know a lot about divorce. And what's your specific question? I know a lot about a lot of things. So, because like I said, I've been a professor for 11 years. I just never got my PhD because I was raising my daughter instead, and I homeschool her, and so never got my PhD. But I do have a lot of knowledge. Just go ahead and ask a specific question. I can answer for you. I don't know what you want to know about divorce. You know, obviously I don't know if you have parents that are divorcing. I don't know any specifics about that. So it helps if you. They argue every day on who will take me. Yeah. Oh, here's the thing.
Pathfinder calling
So
Lancier.
unfortunately,
Come in, Lancier, over.
And sorry. The game is
Lancier, we can't find Lucy's present. Over.
Pathfinder, I have new information regarding Lucy's present. Rendezvous with me as soon as you
I'll get to your question.
We will discuss further. Over.
Roger. Pathfinder out.
Shit!
Oh, shoot.
Bloody hell! Hold them off, Blazkowicz! I'll find us an escape route! Remember, nothing goes left in the world! Shoot those Nazis, Blazkowicz!
Working on
Why did I put this on a hard? Oh, that's not it. That's not the right gun. Oh, this is the one. Give me a second. So I'm guessing the reason why you feel like that is because you think that maybe you're the reason why your parents are angry. Is it? Am I correctly? Ah, I lost. Okay, here's what I'll tell you what I know about divorce, and I hear what you said there. It's really sad, you know, and intense. My parents did not get divorced, but my dad did leave us.
Working on it.
I was 16 when that happened, and one of the things that's really tricky for kids who are being raised in a home where their parents are fighting and arguing and wanting to get divorced or don't want to live together, is that we have a tendency to blame ourselves for everything that's happening in the home, right? And it's actually, in psychology, we call it magical thinking. The idea that you as an individual have the power to either end a marriage or keep the marriage going or be the reason why a marriage isn't continuing on. And it's something that, like, it's not wrong, in that it's always morally wrong. It's just something that's part of your development as a child, where psychologists refer to it as being someone being egocentric. Okay? That's ammo. I keep grabbing ammo. Ah, no! And so first I want to say this, like, functionally speaking, we need to be egocentric when we're first born. Oh! Gosh, this is a crazy game to be talking about this stuff. How did I do this? I need help, dang it. Okay. I think I need to... I put this like on like a hard level, so it's just hard for me. But it's like I was saying... you could do that. And the sad thing about that is that you can't... The sad thing about that, though, is that you'll never have an opportunity to be heard. One thing I would give you some advice on is to do what you're doing now, to talk about what you're going through. Now, it seems like maybe you don't feel like you can talk to your parents. Oh my goodness. But I strongly suggest not keeping yourself to yourself. It's really important that you talk to mom and dad about what you're feeling and how their fighting is affecting you. Okay? Like I was saying, we have a tendency to think that what's going on is our fault, it's our responsibility to fix it and all that kind of stuff, but that's not really the case. You know, your parents... Dang, this is crazy. Your parents have been in a relationship for a long time. And the feelings you're having, they're like really intense feelings that are, again, they're rooted in this idea that you have the power to fix the situation just by existing. And I have to tell you that you can't fix what they're going through, but you can deal with what you're feeling. Sure, like, I know a lot of people over the years who have expressed the desire to kill themselves. I myself was suicidal for a really long time. I've shared this on previous broadcasts, and I posted them out there before about depression, about loss, about grief. The emotions are so intense, and it feels like when you're going through it, like nothing's ever going to change. Right? Like it's never going to get better. That you're in this like dark space, in this kind of cave, and no one can see you. That there is no light. You're trying to find light, but you can't. And so you figure the only way to make things better would be to end them from your perspective, right? So that you don't have to experience them anymore. And I felt that way for a long time in my life. When I was 16, it was when my dad left us, but before that he was around, and it wasn't the kind of home that anybody would choose to live in. He was an alcoholic, he used drugs, he would often I'm gonna die. He would often show up, you know, the next day or day after. Like we would come home from church on Friday night, and he wouldn't be home, and we wouldn't see him until like the next day. And life with him was so difficult. Like my grades were terrible. When I was in high school, I was cheating all the time just to like barely get through school, and I often, like you, I need to lower this because I definitely thought that too. I thought that ending things would be the only way, but I'm here now, right? Obviously I didn't do that. I'm 40 years old. I just turned 40 this last year. When I was 16, I never thought that I would live to be this age. Whoa, what just happened? I always thought I would die young. I remember being in my early 20s, and I couldn't imagine myself being married. I couldn't imagine myself having a kid. I have those things now. The truth is that when you're in... Okay, so let me explain something. Let me make an anecdote this way. I think it was last year. Oh my goodness. I think it was last year. Or it was like a year and a half ago. I had an infection in my thumb. And it was like the worst pain that I've ever had physically in my life. I was in so much pain that I couldn't sleep. I remember one night, the only time I felt relatively okay, and I was taking like, ibuprofen or whatever to help me with the pain. The only time I felt okay was if I kept my thumb above my head, that old trick. And so the pain was so intense, I got out of bed, I sat down, and this was after I saw the doctors and they gave me medicine. Like, this was just like crazy pain. I sat down in the living room at the dining table, and I just went ahead and held my hand over my head, and I just felt this throbbing, right? And in that moment, I felt like it was the worst pain I could ever feel. And there's this pain that's associated with what you're feeling now. It's called psych ache, right? It's a really intense, deep pain that's going on, but instead of it being like on your thumb or somewhere in your body where you can take some kind of medicine and that'll help, and you can keep your finger up in the air like I did. The solution for feeling better doesn't come that easily. Okay, psych ache is the kind of pain that you feel in your heart, you feel in your head, you feel in your soul. Basically, it can radiate through your body, and yeah, we will think that the only way to end psych ache is by ending our lives. Biologically speaking, that makes sense.
Kessler knows something.
Because, in biology, like if my thumb was so infected and so much pain that I couldn't, doctors couldn't fix it, well, they would probably cut it out, right? Like that would be the solution.
Meeting Kessler in the village tavern,
and then the pain will stop, and then you just try to kind of live with the thumb. But the problem is, if you do that with your life, like it's such a permanent decision, and it doesn't allow your body to heal. Like if I just decided that night to go ahead and cut my thumb off, and like I said, I was already on the medication. I was on the it was antibiotics I had to be on, and they told it takes like 2-3 days. And this infection got crazy. I was at the beach and I had a cut on my thumb, and it went in the water, and like it just got really intense really fast. If I just cut my thumb off before waiting to see if the medicine I was taking could work to help heal it, then right now I don't even know if I'd be able to play this game because my left thumb would be gone, right? And I would have made a rash decision, and I most likely would regret doing what I did because I didn't give solutions enough time. Okay, and so what I want to encourage you is, right now you've just been thinking about the problems. I know it's just like been the problems and the problems and the problems and the problems, and so you're thinking, what's the solution? And really the solution that your body's coming up with right now, it's a self-defense mechanism. It's, let's turn this off, like, because the pain is coming in through your ears, right, because you're hearing it. The pain is coming in through your eyes because you're seeing it. Like I said, I've been there. My dad was a terrible person, and my mom didn't know how to say no to him. My mom didn't know how to say get out of our house. My mom didn't know how to divorce him or anything like that. So when I was 16, I was the one that finally stood up to him and said, hey, you can't live here anymore. And I'm running around because I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm like talking to you. So if you know what I'm supposed to do, let me know. I'm supposed to be jumping up here. Anyway, so I was 16, and I was the one who told him to leave, right? And like I said, I struggled. I wanted to end my life. From when I was 16 to 27, I didn't have any relief from my depression and from wanting to kill myself until I turned 28. So I lived like that for like 12, 13 years. And it wasn't always, it was come and go, you know, if I saw my dad somewhere, eventually he was like living out in the streets and stuff because, you know, alcohol abuse and drug abuse, it's tough. And so I'd go and visit him and I'd see him and then I'd feel guilty, like it was my fault. I took him, I put him in those home, oh here, an elevator, of course. There's Misty. I think it was my fault that he ended up like that, and that's that magical thinking, not realizing, you know, it was his own thing, but I have to say that I am glad.
No turning back now, BJ. Keep moving.
That I didn't make that decision, mainly because I think about, you know, and there was a lot of suffering. There was a lot of suffering, okay? But I think about my life now. If you watch previous streams, I don't know if you're just knowing this now, but my daughter, she's 7. And she jumps on here with me, and she usually does this Twitch with me, but today she didn't want to do it. She's playing a game with my wife, and like Elmo, and imagination type stuff. And I was a little annoyed. I was like, man, why didn't she want to play? Because we've been having this good thing. But I realized that there was a purpose for that. You know, if she was on here and you're asking these questions, it would be tough, right? For to ask these kind of questions in front of a 7-year-old. But I think about the life I have, the life I have with her and my wife. If I had made that decision, and I tried to do that, I really tried to do it when I was 16. Then I was always feeling like I was a loser for not doing it. It was just weird, like your mind just goes crazy. But just like if I would cut off my thumb too early before I let the medicine work, if you cut off your life too early, you don't give yourself a chance for things to work out in a way where it might get better. I know this sucks to hear, but in my experience as a counselor and dealing with people and marriages and messy, sometimes some people are better off not living together. And again, it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with them. You know, I don't know how they got together. I don't know how long they were together before they had you. My wife and I were together, like we knew each other since 2006, but we didn't have our child until 2016. So we knew each other for 10 years. And we broke up, and there were relationship issues. We were engaged and all that stuff, and there was a lot of suffering in my life. And in that time I buried my dad in 2003. Like there's a lot of suffering. And you don't know like all their stories and everything that's going on, but and obviously as a child, like you want your parents to stay together. You even wish that you're wondering if ending your life would make them come together, but honestly, just based on the numbers and the research and the experiences that I have and what I know about this subject, it's not going to make things better. If anything, they'll blame each other for what happened, and they'll further separate. But all I can tell you that would happen. I can tell you though is it's really important to talk to mom and dad about what you're feeling, and to let them know that when they fight, just based on what you are writing, I'm assuming, so if I'm wrong, please let me know, but when they fight, it's really messing with your head, and it's making you feel like it's your fault and that you don't want to live anymore. You had the courage to tell me, and I believe you. I want to tell you that I believe you. I believe what you're feeling, and I believe what you're telling me. And I'm asking you to have the courage to tell mom and dad what you're feeling. Give them a chance. I have no idea how they're going to respond. I don't know your parents. I know that if it was my baby girl and my wife and I were so involved with fighting each other,
I'm here, Wesley,
that we couldn't, you know, see that we were harming her. Because sometimes, you know, we were in the pool the other day. We're just having an argument, you know, like people have arguments. It was nothing serious. But my daughter was just like, because we don't really argue that much, she's just like, okay, you guys separate. You leave. Like she's telling me to go.
My father used to take me hiking there sometimes.
We laugh because she does that whenever we have an argument. and because my wife is Hispanic, I'm Indian, but I grew up in a black neighborhood, so I kind of argue sometimes like that. I get loud and big sometimes. But it's nothing. It's not like we're really mad at each other. And she was asking us to separate, and I was like, okay, I understand you're nervous here, right? And that's how I would react to my daughter. Like if she told me, I would listen to her and I believe her. And I have to have hope that your parents would believe you too. Now, I can't guarantee that, obviously, but I encourage you to do that. You know, and I'm really glad, like I said, I'm really glad you had the courage to tell me. And again, I believe you. And I think if my daughter was sitting here, she would probably be like, doesn't know what to say, but she would probably tell you that she believes you too. And that you're feeling alone, but you're not alone. Like, literally, you're here, and I'm not physically with you, but I'm there talking to you. And if you need to reach out, you can reach out on my socials and we can talk more. But you just have to know, like, depending on your age and stuff, there are certain things I can't keep private if I think that there's serious enough threat, and that's, if you threaten to hurt someone or you threaten to hurt yourself. I don't even know what the rules are here. I don't know how I can determine what the rules are in terms of confidentiality. But if you wanted to talk more on a personal basis, we could do that too. I offer services for free. It's just something I do. That's why I'm doing Twitch, just trying to reach out and meet more people. So you can reach out on my socials if you want to keep your name and stuff private here, but all the links are there on Twitch. But I just want to let you know, like, I think it would be a good idea to share with your parents, but again, I can't guarantee that it'll go well, but I have to hope that it would. Now, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. Oh, digging. Where can I dig? Oh, there we go. Oh, I used the wrong one. Keep pressing the wrong one. What the heck? Oh, I wasn't holding it. Gotcha. And I gotta say, just like climbing out of this pit, that's what depression feels like. That loneliness and that darkness. But there is a way out. There is a way out. One of the first steps is one of the first steps is knowing that you're not alone, and having the courage to tell more people about what you're feeling. Okay, so maybe undo the cable. Okay. No idea what I just did. I guess I turned him off and then unhooked his cable. You know, I have a little bit of color blindness, so I think these blue circles are supposed to help me, and I'm only now noticing that they're there. boy. Now, what I wanted to talk about. Can you get that gun back? No? That's not good. What a weird invention. Uh-oh. I messed that up. Oh, that was a mess. So that well, my time is almost up at 6:42. I think. Oh, I should go do it. Oh no, he didn't go down. So I just saw a save happen there, so I think I'm going to back off. But again, please, always consider, you know, the consequences of what you're going to do. But know this, that while you are a powerful person, you know, one of the things that we don't have the power to do is make decisions for other people. And so, you know, but what you can do is you can tell people how what they're doing is affecting you in a negative way. So again, I really ask you to have the courage, just like you had with me, to talk to people that have known you your whole life. And you know, oh, I have an idea. Like I was doing such a similar situation with a young person who was like 10, 11 years old, who was having these similar kind of feelings. And what they did, because they didn't have the courage, they had the courage to tell, but they didn't have the voice, right? They didn't have the voice to tell. So what I told them to do was to write down what they wanted to say. So they wrote down like a letter: dear mom, dear dad, this is what I'm feeling. And then they gave mom and dad the letter, saying, I need you to read this. And both the parents just like started crying and were sorry and everything, and it didn't save their marriage, but at least they realized that they couldn't keep arguing and going on fighting the way that they were in front of their child. And that's really what you need, is you need that peace. I remember reading the comment earlier, you said you need peace, and that's something you can, even if they're getting divorced, by communicating, having the courage to speak up and tell them, hey, this is what's going on, I'm feeling this way while you're fighting, and it's just causing hectic craziness in my life as my daughter starts to come out. People sometimes don't realize that's what they're doing, and so you can definitely share with them that, and hopefully I hope that they would listen to that, and that they would honor you and limit their fighting, and try to take a more peaceful tone, and have, oh no. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and stop playing. Okay, I just died. My 7-year-old just saw that and not happy about that.
Okay, that's a little too violent, because he said he didn't want to
yeah.
play violent games.
Yeah, well, it's just me today, so I can put a little PG-13 on there. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. Again, if you want to reach out to me, you can. You can DM me on Insta. I am on TikTok. I don't use it that much, but I really know how that works. But Insta is probably the DM way to go. Or Twitter, or yeah, or you can go to my website and request like a meeting through there. The website is dialthoughts.com. All the links are on my Twitch page. So. Praying for you. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and pray right now and then close up. Okay? Abba in heaven, I thank you for this time. I thank you for the opportunity to meet this person and to share some words, hopefully, of encouragement with them. I pray, God, that you would give them the voice and courage to speak up about what they're feeling with their parents. I pray, Father, that you would not let them do anything to hurt themselves. And that you would instead give them some kind of hope for a situation, even though it seems hopeless. I know, God, that they feel darkness is all around them. I pray, Lord God, that you would bring light to their life and bring joy back and bring happiness and laughter. It may not be the way that they're used to, but I pray, Father, that you would bring that back. And again, I pray that their parents would listen, their parents would be understanding, and that things would change for the better. I ask you, God, for this as a favor, and I ask in Jesus' name. Amen.